Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fish Market Academy, where we teach you how to fish for gains. So in today's video, we'll be exploring Retrograde, which is the convex of Terra. So if you found this video useful, do remember to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So as usual, disclaimer, nothing I say is financial advice. And for those who are new to the Terra ecosystem, I have listed down the bridges in the description below for you to bridge your funds over. So what is Retrograde? Retrograde basically aims to be the convex of Terra, promoting governance participation as well as supercharging the ecosystem of ASTRO as well as other governance ecosystems. So there are a few other players trying to become the convex of Terra, and this is similar to Reactor, Apollo, Orion, White Whale. They are all just accumulating key Terra assets while offering governance services for each stakeholder on Retrograde. Currently, the most popular Terra asset that they are all accumulating is ASTRO, which is the governance token of ASTRO. So there are a couple of differences between Retrograde and the other protocols. In Retrograde's case, they will be locking up ASTRO/xASTRO in its pre-launch stage, versus Reactor, they will be accepting both the ASTROs as well as ANC. So who's going to win the ASTRO war? Will Retrograde win? It feels like Retrograde is about to win, because if you look at the highest percent of ASTRO locked up compared to their competitors, we can see that Retrograde has the most amount at 10.7 million ASTRO, and the rest are not even close. So you can see that before, this was posted about 1 day ago, and this is about 12 hours ago, and you can see that people have been withdrawing the ASTRO from Apollo and Reactor and moving it into Retrograde. So Retrograde now stands at a whopping 10.7 million ASTRO, and it is probable that this will continue to go up. So let's explore the Retrograde Flywheel and how this protocol is going to add a lot of value to the Terra ecosystem. So this diagram has been created by Detective Grover, so thanks to him for this. So Retrograde Flywheel begins by trying to establish themselves as the largest xASTRO DAO treasury on Terra. So what this does is that with xASTRO, they can lock it to provide maximum boost to LP APY. So for example, if you have Luna UST, instead of putting it on ASTRO, where you don't earn additional rewards because you don't have a lot of xASTRO locked up, you can deposit them into Retrograde, and because Retrograde has the highest amount of xASTRO locked up, they also get the maximum boost to their LP APY. So with this LP APY percent boost, it doesn't end there, because you actually get additional Retro tokens, providing the absolute highest yield across all platforms. So just to recap again, you'll be getting additional ASTRO boosted rewards as well as Retro governance token rewards on top of the boosted rewards, and that's why you get the highest yield. This also means that more ASTRO is farmed, and 5% of this additional ASTRO farm is auto-converted into xASTRO. So xASTRO stands for Retrograde xASTRO, and it is an appreciating xASTRO. So it's not one-to-one for xASTRO and xASTRO. xASTRO appreciates against xASTRO over time, and of course xASTRO appreciates against ASTRO over time. So xASTRO will be one of the better appreciating ASTRO tokens over time. And then the portion of the boosted yield does go to xASTRO stakers. So the xASTRO token is deposited into the Retrograde platform to turn it into xASTRO, and a portion of this boosted yield goes to these stakers, and you attract more ASTRO rewards. And having more ASTRO farm also means that more ASTRO goes into the Retrograde Treasury DAO, which means that each Retro token has more voting power, which will make it more cost effective for DAOs and other protocols to bribe Retro holders or basically accumulate Retro, which creates more demand for the Retro token. So this is a flywheel and why Retrograde can keep going up in price. But what about emissions? If they are minting too much, then the price won't do too well. So Retro token emissions are actually controlled to ensure that the ratio of xASTRO to Retro increases over time, and this is how they make sure that the inflation for Retro isn't too much. So Retrograde investors are pretty top notch. We have Delphi Digital, Jump, Terraform Labs, Hash, and all the other blue chip VCs, as well as some Terra influencers like Spacer, Hisoka, Ryan, Jimmy, etc. So for the Retro airdrop, there will be an airdrop of 10 million Retro to AstroPod LBA participants, AstroPod Lockdrop participants, ASTRO holders, and ASTRO UST LP. And this is the following percentages, with most of it going to ASTRO holders. But the snapshot is over already, and I believe it was around February. But for this airdrop, recipients will only be able to claim their Retro tokens in November. And of course, any unclaimed tokens will go back to the Retrograde treasury. And in terms of the airdrop distribution, it's also looking at wallet size. So they don't want to give all the airdrop to whales. So if you are somewhere in the middle of your wallet size, then you get the most amount of airdrop. But of course, if you are lower upper, you still just get airdrop, but it's not the additional bonus airdrops. So phase 1 of the LBP is over, and that's the phase where users deposit UST and then they can actually get retro at the end of the whole phase 1. So since this is over, we won't go too much into it. But just note that if you participated, you can only claim your retro tokens 2 months after the event, which is on 4th July. So people who are looking to buy retro on the secondary market don't have to worry about LBP holders like straight away dumping, because they can only get it after 4th of July. But do note that it is not vested, so 4th July they can all dump at the same time. So I kind of think that they could have made it a bit more linear vesting, so we don't get one gigantic red candle on 4th July, but that's probably going to happen since they can all get it on the same day. So phase 2 is still happening right now. It's the boosted conversion. So if you're holding ASTRO or xASTRO, you can convert it into VXASTRO during this phase from 4th of May to 11th of May, and users will be able to receive VXASTRO equivalent to 90% of the number of xASTRO and 10% in LP tokens. And the LP tokens will be in the form of VXASTRO and ASTRO. So on top of this, they will receive additional 10% of the retro token supply prorated to their deposited amount. This is an additional bonus to get people to deposit into their retro pool compared to other protocols. So all rewards from phase 2 will unlock on 11th August. So you don't have to worry about people dumping their additional retro boosted rewards on the moment the TG happens, because you can only get it on 11th August. In the first 5 days of this boosted conversion event, users can deposit and withdraw any amount of their tokens, and on day 6 and 7, withdrawals will decrease from 50% to 0% linearly. So this should be familiar with those that have participated in previous lock drops, because they have the similar principle behind them. So let's explore the retro tokenomics. There will be a total of 1 billion retrograde tokens, and this is the distribution, and a lot of it is to the community and ecosystem with 62%, and then 10% is investors, 5% key contributors, 10% to the team, 10% to phase 2, 1% to phase 1, 1% to Airdrop, and 1% to the initial retro pool liquidity. So in terms of internal holders, I think we will consider investors, key contributors, and team, and that's about 25%, which is still pretty okay. And for TGE date is on 12th of May, which is coming very soon, and the team and investor vesting schedule is 1 year cliff with 4-year vesting. So just take note at the 12th of May 2023, they'll be able to start decentralizing their tokens onto the community. So if you go to retrograde.money/launch, always remember to be on the right website. So we'll put a link in the description below as well. You can actually see the deposit and withdraw. So first you need to connect your wallet. I'm just going to connect my wallet quickly. Then after here, you can stake and deposit. So if you're holding ASTRO, you first need to stake it into xASTRO, and then you deposit xASTRO into it. So if you see the xASTRO deposit APR is at 364%. So what this means is that when you're depositing your xASTRO, it turns into VXASTRO, which is also an appreciating xASTRO, and the estimated appreciation for this is at 364%, and as more people put in, this will continue to drop. And this is also based on the current deposit value of retro at 33.5 cents. And do note that this current price of retro may not stay at this price after 1 year, because the IDO or the private round for retro was at 5 cents. So private investors are already up about 7 times or so. And as the vesting cliff is also at the 1 year mark, people might front run and then let go of their retro tokens, and this retro value might fall from this price. But of course, all this is speculative, and just make sure that you are comfortable with the risk that you are taking and do not put in more than what you can afford to lose. So in conclusion, I think Retrograde would probably outperform the rest of their competitors like Orion, White Whale, Reactor, Apollo, etc. And they will be the largest ASTRO accumulator unless suddenly a large portion gets pulled out, or someone pulls a reverse Uno card and then something happens. Otherwise, Retrograde will probably be the largest ASTRO treasury DAO at the moment. And of course, if you are participating in Retrograde, just take note of the unlock dates, as the pre-launch rewards will be unlocked all at once. So the phase 1 unlock is sometime in July, and then the phase 2 rewards is sometime in August, and the airdrop rewards is sometime in November. So just take note of all these dates, put them in the calendar, and then think about whether you want to let go of it before the date. Or at least you know that if it's going to come, then get some money ready to buy the dip if you are really bullish on the ecosystem. And of course, if you have ASTRO and xASTRO and you want to earn more retro rewards and you never want to sell this because you're long-term bullish, I think there's really no reason why you shouldn't participate in this. So just make sure that you deposit and lock it in before the phase 2 ends. But ultimately, do your own research and invest with caution. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!
Baby fish do